Hi everyone, it's Carly again from Tyneside Mine with your next art tutorial. The next few tutorial videos will show you how to make this type of dream catcher. So to start with, we're going to be looking at macrame. This is for all you threadheads. So the only things you're going to need for this tutorial is some thread and a pair of scissors. Now you can use any type of thread. There is a type of macrame thread that actually comes woven and you can unweave it to make them very thin threads like this. I'm just going to use this thin thread and use many of them to get the shape that I want, but you can use a thicker thread, just use fewer of them when you're doing the next step. So I will show you two things today. The first one is a tassel and the second one is a feather. So let's get started. The first thing that we need to do for the tassel is to take our thread and we need to make a loop. So maybe take 2 fingers and wrap it around a few times and try to finish in the same place that you started. And take your scissors and just snip it there. And we don't have to tie a knot in this. We can just roll it, and that gives us our hoop. And what we'll do is we'll tie our knots around these loose bits, and if they're still loose at the end we can cut them off. So you have your hoop, and the next thing you need to do is to make your lengths. Now what I do is I use this part of my hand, and I always use the same part so that whenever I cut my lengths they are the same every time. So again, you want to start at the top here, wrap around several times. You might have to do several passes at this depending on how many threads that you want. And you finish at the top as well where you started. Again, take your scissors and cut this bit here. Then you'll have a bundle of threads, and you can separate them into little piles like I've already done here. So these are strands of 3, and if you are using thicker thread you probably only need 1 strand per knot. The next thing we need to do is take our small bundle of threads and fold it in half until we have a loop. And you want to put that down and put your hoop on top. It might be easier to pick it up to do this, but to show you I'll do it down on the table. And you take the ends and you put it through the loop here. Make sure all of them go through, and then you pull down. And you can see the 2 little threads there from the hoop, and I'll cut them off later. But we've secured that in now, so that shouldn't go anywhere. And then you repeat the process with your other bundle strands. So underneath, you get your ends and you put it through the hoop and pull, and try to get it next to the one before. So that's how you make a tassel, and then if you want to affix it to anything you can do the same type of knot again, and I'll just show you on my finger. So this is a hoop, you get your ends and you put it through there, and then your tassel will tie to whatever you want to tie it to. So that is the first part, and you can trim this to make them even. And again, like I said, this is part of a tutorial to do the dream catcher, and we will use this on the dream catcher. but you can use it for other things if you are wanting to decorate things with macrame. So that's the tassel, and now let's move on to the feather. For the macrame feather, you will need a long central core that you can tie your knots to. So you want to take your thread and fold it at about a length that you would like. And again, because I'm using a thin thread, I'm going to fold it over several times to create the core. But if it's thicker, you only need to do it a couple of times. So I'm probably going to do this maybe 6 times. And just fold it over, fold it over. Okay, and then you use your scissors again. But then this time you want to cut the middle bit. Just so that you have a hoop at one end. So you have your main core thread and you want to push that together. Again, just so the hoop is at the top. And you also want to create little bundles again, like we did with the tassels. So again, I've got 3 in each one. And this is a little bit different. We're using the same knot, but we're going to attach 2 together, 2 bundles together. So the first one, we want to put this way, and we're going to put it underneath our long thread like this. And we're going to get the other one and do the same, but this time we're going to loop them together. So to start with, you want to put these ends into this loop, and then you want to take the ends of the other one and put it into this loop here. It is advisable to pin this down if you can. I don't have anything to pin it down on my desk. But if maybe you had a clipboard or if you had a pin and you could pin it into some fabric, that would be helpful for doing this next bit, which is a bit fiddly. But if you pull, then the 2 knots intertwine and they create a straight line across. The way that you put your threads does matter. If you put it on the left first, you'll see this top knot will be on the left. If you put it on the right, then the top knot will be on the right. What I've been doing is doing 2 on the left, 2 on the right. So we're just going to do another one on the left, again underneath, and your second bundle ends in here, and then these ends in this loop, and pull. And whilst it's loose, you can push it up to the top so you can get it right underneath that last one. So carry on like this until you get to about here. So what you want to do is leave about that much at the end, and I'll show you what to do next. So just fill it in up to about here. So when you've filled in all your knots and you've left the gap at the bottom, it should look something like this. I've been combing mine out to make it look neater. If you have thinner threads, you could probably do this. If you have macrame, you could do it as well. Not recommended if you're using wool or a thicker thread, because it might pull it out and make it all fuzzy, and you don't want that. So when you have this shape, you need to make a feather shape out of it. So we can push this down on the side and make it sort of round at the top, or a leaf shape if that's easier to imagine, and then do the same with the other side. I'll just get my comb. So once you've had a play with it and you've made it look sort of feathery shaped, what you need to do is have a look at this top line here, and where it stops, that's your beginning line. And then here, the point is your end line, and you need to cut a line, sort of a curved line around here. I'm going to do this off screen because I don't think I can do it precisely on the desk and show you what I mean. But just imagine a line from here down to the end, and you want to trim that. Take your time with it because we want it to be neat and tidy. Once you've finished trimming, you can comb it or just arrange it into a feather-like pattern like this. And that's the finished product. And we will be using this as well on our dream catcher tutorial that will be coming in the next couple of weeks. See you then.